Hello, hey everybody. Hope y'all are having a great week so far. And uh, I haven't seen y'all in a while. I'm back. I was out of town. Went to Canada to visit my little sister, and stopped by New York. And man, it was good. But glad to be back. So today we're going to talk about the listing appointments. There's a lot of stuff out there on meeting with sellers and what to say, and the presentation. And I want to start off by saying, 70% of agents are using a paper packet for the listing presentation. And, like literally flipping through a CMA and flipping through, this is what I'm going to do for you. And about half of the time, it's 90% just like everyone else's little CMA and packet. And, you don't want to be like everybody else. So, okay, back to the agents. 70% of agents use paper, and 20% of agents use a laptop or a tablet, and that's 90%. So 10% of y'all are actually winging it and not bringing anything and just going by the seat of your pants and doing that stuff. So we talked about in the description, if you made it to the house, that's a huge win. That's a huge battle, as far as winning the war of getting the listing and getting it sold. Getting the house, getting in there, getting an appointment, getting them to sit with you is a huge win. So don't take it lightly and prepare for it and be strategic. So we're going to talk about today, real quick video, 30 minutes, what exactly you can do to differentiate yourself and be different. Because the savvy home seller is going to be interviewing a few agents. Usually, if it's not a friend or something, they're going to be interviewing a few agents. And studies show that about 2 out of 4 people are showing the exact same presentation that just has a different logo on it. So you don't want to do that. So the biggest thing that that can help with differentiating yourself is that, I don't know the numbers specifically for this stat, but a lot of agents are talking about themselves, are just straight selling themselves. And this is what I've done. This is me. This is what I can do. This is what I'm gonna do for you. I'm gonna get this and do that. And that's really everyone saying the same thing. So, and it's not about you. You have to make it about the sellers. It's about them. You know, how you can help them. And and it's really getting facts and information to make it easier for you to help them. So, that's the number one thing. It's not about you. And what I found is that when I go there, people already know a lot about me. My strategy is always changing and always evolving, but I think it's pretty funny when I go to a listing appointment and I'm talking about, 20 minutes into it, and I mention something about my personal life, just as a, comparing, and they say, "Oh yeah, I know about your dogs." You know, the last one I had, they actually knew my dog's name by memory because we were talking, after the presentation, we were talking about, my backyard and stuff, and I mentioned my dogs, and they go, "Oh, Isabel and Sophie." And I thought that was so funny that this guy remembered that from my About Me on my website. So people aren't stupid, they're doing their homework, especially in the upper market, when they're more tech savvy. And even the older generations, this guy in particular was an older generation, and they're on the internet, they're on Facebook, they're looking at your stuff. So don't waste their time and sell them on yourself, because they're probably already sold. So with that being said, if this is what I recommend for everybody to do. If you're, right now, let's say whatever your online strategy is or whatever online stuff you have, if you were a seller and let's say they came to you, let's say you called them on an expired, or it was an online ad or home value ad, and you got there. Let's say you talked to them on the phone, and 2 days later or the next day you're at their house. These people are going to look up, they're going to look you up, and they're going to do some background check, not a background check, but they're going to Google you. So here's what I recommend. Google yourself, type your name into Google, and just poke around as if you were a consumer and that you didn't know this person at all. poke around your little website, poke around your testimonials, your hard profile. Would you hire yourself? So that's like the number one thing. Before we even get to the listing presentation stuff, go in your website, go in your profile, and read it as if you were a consumer. And if you wouldn't hire yourself, then, you know, change some stuff, make it better, see what you can do. But really, they're doing their homework. So if you're there, that's good because they did their homework and they approved of you. So that's good. But also, it's also good to optimize. So what I've done what I've started doing is I drop off my little listing presentation beforehand. I don't like going over the presentation in person. I like to drop it off, and you can do this in a PDF format, or you can email it to them. I like emailing it, actually. I email it and I say, hey, do me a favor. We're meeting tomorrow at noon or 1 o'clock or 6 o'clock. Do me a favor and go over this information, this packet, so that when we meet, you can be fully aware of what we're going to be talking about and the process. So I'm about to show y'all here in a few minutes 2 presentations that I have and that I've kind of been split testing and show you my results. But to be honest, if everything you're doing to the point of your first contact is, if you're doing it right and doing it good, and you have somewhat of a script and somewhat of a continuity of what you're doing, then it's gonna, half the battle's done. Half of my listing appointments, I don't even present. I walk in the door, it's come list me, where do I sign, what do I need to do? So, and that's the ultimate, that's kind of the end goal, right? I mean, you don't want to but that's part of the job. But you're definitely there is a possibility that you can just get the come list me calls, which are awesome. So you're not doing presentation, but it's, even when you get the come list me, it's still vital that you come and you educate them about the process and the expectations. And today I'm going to show you all a few questions that I ask to help keep these expectations on the same page. So because problems arise when expectations differ, so it's good to knock those stuff out. And so we'll talk about that first. But yeah, I drop off the listing presentation or I email it, depends on kind of the person. If this person's been a lot of online communication with me, or let's say I got them online, then I'll email it to them. If this person is a caller and maybe a little older, maybe not so tech savvy, then I'm going to drop off a PDF email. I'm going to drop off a PDF in a manila folder, leave it at their door with a note. Hey, I left you something. Please go over this stuff so that when we meet tomorrow, you can be fully informed. And that way it helps you, because you're not having to sell yourself. You're just getting the information, and it's about them. I like saying that if you do that and you educate them before you meet, then they're not interviewing you, you're interviewing them. So when you get there, you're finding out motivation, their expectations, their goals, and their plans, which can be, some people don't know that you can use them. They can use you to sell and buy. And then it's, hey, what are you going to do after you sell? Oh, we want to buy something. Oh, really? That's good to know. Because then you can help them. So and so first I want to talk about the presentation. But I'm going to show you all that right now, and I'm going to have it up. You can email me directly once we get done. Shoot me an email. I'll send you both versions that I have, and you can just swap out some pictures and swap out some text and some stats to make it more personable to you. But with my presentations, I usually bring a briefcase just because it looks cool. No, I'm just kidding. I bring a briefcase because it looks professional, and I bring up my tablet, an iPad, and my notebook and a pen. Half the time, I would say 80% of the time, I don't use my iPad at all. I pull out my notebook and I say, would you mind if I took notes so I don't forget anything? And, everybody knows, or you should know as a salesperson, that selling is 90% listening. So they need to be doing all the talking. And it's funny how, you know, when you take note, when someone says something and you take notes, it kind of like, it does something to them. It's like the server, you know, at the restaurant who's taking your order, and you're like, dude, you can write this down. It's okay, man. Oh, no, no, no. You know, even if you don't say anything and you mentally make a note, you know, he could, you know, he didn't write this down. He'll come back 2 minutes later. Did you say this or did you say that? Well, I said this, and you have to correct them, and you're like, dude, he should have just, you know, wrote it down the first time. So it's funny, you know, people they feel it like they said something important, you know. So I sit there with my yellow notepad and I'm taking notes for stuff that they're saying, that anything to find important. I sit down, look them straight in the eye, and we begin our discussion. And just taking notes is huge, just listening. So, I guess we'll cover, you know, specifically what I do right when I get at the listing. Um, I get there, they know I'm coming. Always call the day before. Always call either the night before or the morning of to confirm. Professionals confirm, because both of y'all have stuff to do. Life gets in the way, but a professional is gonna call to confirm the appointment, because they want to ensure that you're coming, and then you obviously want to ensure that you're not wasting your time preparing, getting ready, and driving over there to find that they had something come up. So always confirm. But when I show up, you know, it kind of goes, you got to get a little scientific with it, but in a conversation, one person's always in control. When, you know, in any kind of dialogue or any meeting that two people are having, or more than two people, there's always one person that's in control of the conversation and the situation. So you have to take control as the salesperson and as the consultant and the professional. You have to take control. If they open the door and say, hey, what's going on? Good to see you, sir. How are you doing today? And they say, well, let's have a seat at the table. I would say 50% of them are going to try to take control, especially in the higher range and the higher end of the market. Those guys, most likely, those guys are going to be the ones that say, hey, well, let's have a seat here at the table and let's talk. At that time, I'm going to say, actually, would you mind if you give me a tour real quick of the place so I can get an idea, you know, you can fill me in and I can get to know the place and everything better. Boom, you just made them change their pattern and change their course, and you basically took control. So take control, and it goes both ways. If they say, let me give you a tour, at that time, I'm going to say, actually, would you mind if we sat down and talked a little bit first before you give me a tour? Boom, you're asserting dominance. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be on your toes about that, just to take control, kind of like, you know, because then it goes all downhill from there. And I've been at listing appointments where they're a real, you know, high D person, a real dominant person, and you don't want to be that person's little toy. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be a pleasant transaction. You might not, that's if you get the listing, because, you know, if they're dominant the whole time and they're in control, you're not going to have, your job is going to be much harder, you know, bringing offers, getting stuff signed, you know, getting them to agree to stuff, negotiations, it's going to be tough. So, you know, establish dominance, as funny as that sounds, but you have to. And, you know, if they're going to be a little bit more confrontational, you have to, you know, man up and kind of be just as confrontational as they are, and be stern and be, you know, you're professional. This is what you do. And how many houses have you sold? You know, and that's actually a question that I ask, but not at that kind of tone and in that situation. But establish your dominance. And when you get there, you know, whatever way that they go the opposite way. And either way, it's okay, because it's just it just switches up your presentation. And I don't even like calling it a presentation, because it's more of a consultation. You're there as a consultant. You're not there to put up a PowerPoint and, you know, spit out these facts. If you've done what I said about the dropping it off beforehand, half your battle is even already won, because they already know everything about you, and now it's about them. And it kind of, it establishes your system of doing things, and it's momentum. You're using the momentum. And if you get them in the process, you send them the presentation, they start subconsciously, going towards that end goal of listing their house. So we're going to talk about some questions. So first, I guess I'll show you all the questions. So you're going to want to write these down, but we're going to have this on the website so you can write it down later. So right off the bat, why are you selling? So, hey, I'm here, so obviously, you have some desire in getting your household, but why am I here? What's going on? You're going to get all kinds of answers. You're going to get, I can't afford the payment. You're going to get, my husband lost his job. You're going to get we're getting a divorce. You're going to get, I want a smaller house. We want to upgrade. And these are all vital questions because they're going to help determine, how you handle things. Because if they're upgrading, then it's a little different because they're going to be needing to buy a house at the same time. And, if you're comfortable with that, you need to be comfortable with that because, 70% of buyers are sellers too. So, and a lot of them can't purchase a house at the same time as while living in the current one. They're going to have to sell first. So with that timeline, it's a little trickier. So you're going to have to get comfortable with that and get educated on it so you can have a successful transaction and not be pushing away offers on your listing because you can't find them a house or vice versa, or you're under contract but they're going to be homeless because you can't get them under contract for a purchase because no one wants a contingency. So it's your job to learn these things as a pro and communicate them so that they know, their expectations. And that's part of the next question. So why are you selling? Why am I here? And get a notepad out, write these questions. Write these answers down. Have you sold a home before using a realtor? Most of the time you're going to get yes. And then they might be like, yeah, actually this guy, and it's obviously if they're not calling him, he didn't do a good job staying in communication. You might hear some funny stories, but just this helps you determine where they're at in their, educational spectrum of being a seller, a consumer. So with that goes, well, how much do you know about the process? I'm not sure how you did it last time, but, tell me a little bit about what your idea of the process is. And then how much do you want to know about the process? Some people are going to be really, really involved and want to know everything. Some people are going to be like, do your thing. Let me know what you need from me. I don't want to know. And then one thing I say is, do you want me to tell you as if you know nothing? And that always helps squash a little bugs and a little, you don't miss anything. So I really like that. So yeah, how much do you want to know? Sometimes they'll tell you, I want to know everything. Boom, tell them everything. And I say, what could make this process a 10 plus experience for you? How can I make this process out of the park, 10 plus on a scale of 1 to 10 experience, and just make you a raving fan? And always ask that question because everyone's differently. Everyone's going to answer differently, but one of the common answers is going to be communication. We just want you to communicate with us, and let us know what's going on and what you're doing, and that you're doing something, because our last guy, et cetera, didn't talk to us, whatever. So with that being said is, well, how would you like me to communicate with you? Text, email, phone calls? I'm not going to snail mail you, but do you prefer any of those three? Which ones do you prefer? Some are going to say, you can text me, that's cool. And I always say, outside of receiving an offer, how often do you want to communicate? So you find out how they want to communicate, and you should get a preference. So, first text me. If I don't respond to your text, call me. And then if I don't answer your phone call, you can email me. Or it's shoot me an email and I'll call you as soon as I can. And then if I don't answer your email, then you can shoot me a text. Find the preference and then write that stuff down. Put it in their file. This is how they want to communicate. And then it's how often. how often outside of receiving an offer do you want me to communicate with you? So if there's no offers on the table, let's say it's the first couple weeks, do you want a once a week phone update? You want an email update? Just shoot you a text. Let me know, because remember, they're probably going to answer communication. So get the expectations. How often and how and what method of communication do they want? And then my favorite question is, how honest do you want me to be with you throughout this transaction? On a scale of 1 to 10, how honest do you want me to be? How blunt? Uh, you know, the husbands are usually going to answer like a 10. Be honest with me, be straight up with me. And, you might get some ladies, some wives that be like, a 7, So then it's up to you to determine, hey, well, in my experience, it's better to be completely straight up with you. And it kind of helps ease into that segue as far as, being upfront and straightforward, and that you're not gonna sugarcoat anything. And this is business, and to better serve you and to help you get the best results that you want, I need to be honest with you. So for me, and I say for me, it's hard to not be anything less than a 9. You know, um, I'm not going to say your wall color is hideous. A 9 for me is like, that wall color it pertains to a small percentage of the home buyers that are on the market. You know what I'm saying? You see the difference. 10 is like, that's ugly. Everyone's gonna think it's ugly. You need to repaint it. You need to get rid of this couch. It's ugly. Stuff like that. So you can tone it down a little bit and just be a little bit nicer about it. But most people want you to be honest with them. So those are 7 questions that are pretty vital. But if you're doing everything, those are the most important ones to help you deliver the best experience. So I'm going to pull up this listing presentation real quick. Boom. Okay. So this was created. I use like a bunch of different data from NAR, and a lot of real estate websites that have found data about sellers and what they want to know, and the best way to convince them to list with you. So it's kind of just a mashup of all this data that studies show that sellers want to see. So here, I'm going to pop it up real quick. And you see, it's not a presentation as far as like asking for business. It's more like an educative, consultative approach to this. Is educative a word? I don't know. Educational approach to the selling. So it's, you're a consultant, and I always say assume the sale. So I'm not going in there, trying to sell them on me. I'm educating them, consulting them, and in turn, the end result is that they feel really comfortable with me. They feel like I'm very competent, and I'm very knowledgeable, and they feel comfortable. So at the end of the day, sales is comfort. And if you can make someone feel comfortable with you, then they'll do business with you. And I found that if they don't feel comfortable with you, then they're not going to work with you at all. So it's all about making them feel comfortable and squashing any bad feelings they have, or any questions, or objections that they might have. So let's jump right in. I'm going to share this with y'all real quick. 1 second. Okay. So you're risking 10%. Okay. So here it is. This is a PowerPoint. I'm going to have it online on the website, or you can email me for it until it gets up, and you'll be able to just go in here and edit this stuff, and hopefully edit the data so it's your data. But all right. So this is the cover page. Preparing for a successful home sale. So the data shows that is the most successful title of all the presentations that could be, is how to have a successful home sale, because some people tend to assume that all homes sell. So you're kind of setting the premise that no, all homes do not sell, and all home sales are not successful. And it's also about determining what's successful to you. What does that say? Okay, yeah. So I forgot about this, but serving Houston families since '95. That's the office, like the broker. So that kind of gives you some, credibility. Because yeah, that's the office. So let's see the next page. So I'm gonna give you all this stuff. You're more than welcome to use it, but if we ever see the same listing, you're gonna want to differentiate yourself a little bit. So I'm not gonna go over everything word by word, but you'll be able to see. I use some beautiful images. These are actually, this one's not mine. This is one of my images from a photographer. Use your own stuff. Use your own stuff from your listing photos. It just looks better and it's gonna make you feel better. So I have the intro right here, and then a little about me, real short about me, just kind of benefits and features, how it benefits them is what's most important. So our track record, and when I say our track record, it's my team versus the market versus the average, and people want to see this stuff. So if you're a new agent, then your successful sales should be pretty high, because you don't have that many. So show the data. It's very easy to read, and it's very digestible. This is my track record of success. The typical agent versus my sales. So I'm gonna give you this stuff. I'm gonna share it with you, and then you can change it up and keep it. But this is what I send them before I go there. I do my experience in total production versus a typical agent, and it's you put it in an image so that they can see like a visual aid. My listings sell faster. It's true. You got easy competition because the average listing sells. When I made this, it was 122 days. You can find this stuff out on HAR. It's really easy. Just go there. So my listings sell for 97% of the list price versus the market average. And then this is you're kind of done with the about you and about your stats, and then I go into an educational approach, and then show them how buyers search for and evaluate homes. The marketing I will do to promote your home has only one purpose: to increase awareness among potential buyers, leading to in-person showings. Once the buyer reaches your door, the job of marketing is over. So they've read this stuff before, keep in mind. Your home must now compete with the other homes on two areas: features and price. If your home has more features that appeal to buyers, or your home is priced lower than comparable homes, your home will stand out as the better value. Conversely, if your home lacks the features that potential buyers desire, your only option is to compete on price. It's huge. And then pricing is critical. Pricing your home accurately is single-handedly the most effective way to ensure a successful sale. No amount of marketing can sell an overpriced home. Many sellers are tempted to list their home with an agent who quotes the highest price. Please keep in mind, the agent does not set the price. The seller doesn't set the price. The market will determine the price or value for your home based on recent similar sales and other active listings. What does and what does not impact price? And then I go in here and then I'm educating them. Factors that influence market value: supply and demand, economic conditions, asking and selling prices of comparable homes, your home's condition, the buyer's perception of your home. Factors with little to no influence on market value. This is huge. The factors with little to no influence on market value is the price the seller paid for the house, the seller's expected net proceeds from the sale, or the amount spent on improvements. You'll get some sellers, I want to walk away with this much money. Well, Mr. Seller, unfortunately that's irrelevant, and that's not part of the formula, determined to find the value of your home. It's completely irrelevant, and it's, but if they've seen this, then they're gonna feel a little bit smarter, and hopefully you'll have squashed that objection, and it's gonna help you get them to agree to an acceptable price for both of y'all. So this is huge. These are not little to no influence on market value. So, and then more educating. There are two primary reasons sales fall apart. The first occurs when the home doesn't appraise for the contract price. We'll cover the second reason in the section on condition. You can avoid issues with an optional pre-listing appraisal. So I do recommend to some sellers, if it, if they financially it works for them and they can spend a couple $100, they don't mind, then I do it. Then I recommend that they do it. So I also offer a reimbursement of the cost of appraisal at closing, provided that they close with me. So I list the benefits of the pre-listing appraisal, and there are benefits. So I say that, it costs, you pay for it, but when we close, I'll reimburse you. So it's a win-win, and it helps you, it gets you a legit asking price, and it'll hopefully, be in line with the market, and it's going to sell fast, and it's going to get under contract, and it's going to squash a lot of bugs before they arise. So this is how condition influences buyer perception. The second reason sales fall apart is that once the seller and buyer are under contract, the buyer will hire an inspector to scrutinize every aspect of the home. Oftentimes, the home inspection reveals repair items that the seller did not anticipate. So I love the wording of this, and like I said, I took it from data and studies, so that this was engineered to really make sellers feel better, because they're learning so much. So keyword, scrutinize. The inspector is going to scrutinize every aspect of the home. Set the expectation that there's going to be a lot of stuff coming up, because there always is. Oftentimes, the inspection reveals repair items that the seller did not anticipate. So they're not going to know. A lot of sellers think they've done everything to get their house ready to sell, but the inspector finds otherwise. Okay. The pre-listing inspection, and then I go into the benefits of that, because it's so good. I really recommend it. Having a pre-listing inspection allows the seller to find the problems early in the marketing process, and make the repairs at people that they know, and that on your schedule and at your terms. And an additional benefit, which I say, is it shows to buyers that the home is well maintained and that you care about it. Because if there's two listings on a street, very comparable homes, but one has had a pre-listing inspection and that you've knocked out most or all of the repairs, or even if the buyer just knows what to expect, then you can automatically command a higher asking price and stand apart from the competition, which is pretty big. It's a big deal, and it sets you apart, and I think that's invaluable. The importance of condition. I love facts and stats. 63% of buyers stated in a NAR study that they would pay more for a house that is move-in ready. So get the house move-in ready. A lot of sellers don't want to do little things. They just want to sell it. But they need to, if you put a dollar value amount on the benefit to them, if they get it move-in ready and they spend $200 on a cleaning lady, stuff like that, then that's really going to make a difference in getting it move-in ready and in increasing the buyer's perception of the home, which is huge. Condition and home warranty. I offer a home warranty during the listing, and this is just to keep people feeling comfortable. So because people are worried that when they're showing and stuff like that stuff could happen, and anything can happen. So it's a couple $100, and I reimburse it, and you don't get charged anyway till closing. So I recommend this. It's another benefit. It's a benefit to them, and you just got to show them how it benefits them. Because a lot of agents, I would say most agents aren't offering this stuff. Most agents are not offering to reimburse for the appraisal and the home inspection, or the condition. So set yourself apart, and it'll really help. The importance of creating a positive first impression. So here I go into, once a buyer arrives at your home, approximately 80% of the buyer's criteria has already been met. That means that if a buyer is going to your house, 80% of their criteria has already been met. The location is acceptable. The size of the home is acceptable. The price, the amenities, the features, and the schools are all acceptable to them because they're included in the MLS description. So that other 20% is so vital. So the 20% that's vital is the condition of the home, and as well as some items that cannot be changed, such as the floor plan. So cleanliness. Okay, so here we go. Of that remaining 20%, 72% of the first impressions can be controlled. So 72% of the first impressions can be controlled by cleanliness, clutter, and odor, decor, and condition and lighting. So that's huge. You can basically squash 90% of that buyer's criteria if you just clean, clutter-free, odor-free. Odor, get some plugins, get a cleaning service. Decor, we offer staging. Make sure that's part of your strategy. Condition and lighting. Change bulbs out, add lamps. All these things really help. Lighting is huge. Open the blinds. You'd be surprised how much of a difference that makes. And the importance of staging. 87% of buyers stated that home presentation makes a difference in most sales. Staged homes statistically photograph better, show better, and sell faster than non-staged homes. It's a fact. It's a cold-blooded truth. So it's huge. We have a few contacts for staging. You can come to me. Even we have in-office Margot does staging on the side, and she's really good and affordable, and it makes a difference. But we've all been to those houses that look perfect, like a model home, and those houses sell fast. They sell faster and for more. It's a stat. It's proven. So pitch it that it's an investment to make more money. And when you invest, you hope to get a return. So that's the key when you say investing in this stuff. The importance of great photography. Buyers perceive homes with pro photos to be worth, on average, 12% more than the asking price. I firmly know that stuff is true. I've been using my photographer for almost 2.5 years, and I've had to list some overvalued, I guess, some houses that were listed a little bit too high, but they sell. And this stat kind of proves it. The buyers, it's subconsciously, they perceive homes with pro photography to be worth on average 12% more. So that's huge. And keep in mind, they're seeing this stuff before you go over there. So when I'm there and I'm talking with them, and we touch on photography, I'll pull up my listings. I'll pull up a listing, or depending on where it is, if I know, and hopefully you've done your homework on the neighborhood and what's active and what's not, what's just sold, and you can pull up examples. Here, look at my listing, on this street. Look at these pictures, and now look at this one, and pull that stuff up and show them. Say, what do you think? They're gonna agree with you that this looks horrible, because we see it all the time. Crooked pictures with dates on them, people that took it on their phone and didn't turn on the lights and everything. So show them you invest in photography. You invest in a great photographer. My photographer is really expensive. He's like super high end on the spectrum of photography. It's like $200, which a lot of people don't like to spend, but it makes a huge difference. And I have to say, like, I associate some of my stats as far as like how fast and how high they sell for with my photography, because people are like, love it, and it gets bodies in the door. So let's see. So how we generate interest in showings. So my website, syndicated, HAR, signage, social media, direct mail, email, and open houses. So they've already seen this stuff, and I go into the service, what you can expect from me, all this stuff, and what we need from you. So this is good. The seller's disclosure, recent survey, homeowner info. So I have my own little homeowner info form and I can share with y'all. Just ask me. A copy of neighborhood covenants, of the HOA, the HOA packet, they have it. a set of keys, and alarm codes if applicable. So my little thank you page. So this is the one that's performing the best for me. That one is performing the best, and I like it. But I also have this one that some of y'all might like too. Let me share it with you. I'm going to go through it real quick. So, you know, this one actually I got it from Playster, but it's cool. You can go in here and move stuff around, change the wording. It's a good template. This is even a good lead magnet. So shoot me an email. I'll email it to you. And then if you don't know what a lead magnet is, you haven't been going to our trainings, but it's okay. A lead magnet is basically something that you offer in return for an email address. So you can do an ad, a Facebook ad that says, click here to download the home selling guide, the ultimate guide to selling your home in 2015. So obviously I would change the wording a little bit, but you just go in here. It's really good. It's really good stuff. This is a great lead magnet. Not so much a presentation, but it could be. It's up to you, but I'll give it to y'all. And you can go in here. You can add logos and stuff. You can add, let's see. You can add logos, add the office logo in here. Or actually, we'll go in there and add these logos. And then I'll shoot it over to you so y'all can have it. On the last picture is blah, blah, blah about you. But this is a good one for ads. And I think this is a great lead magnet, and you can also use it as a presentation. So yeah, so if you want that stuff, email it to me. Email me asking, and I'll send it to you. And remember, keep it about them. Keep it about them. Don't talk about yourself. Ask questions and listen and dig deeper and find the motivation, because it's about building the rapport. Tony Robbins, I don't know if y'all came to the Tuesday meeting. I know everyone couldn't come, but it was great. And this guy was taught by Tony Robbins, and I've seen Tony twice, Chicago and LA, and I want to go again. But Tony's a great salesperson to watch. Tony Robbins, Anthony Robbins, if you don't know who he is, but says that 80% of what people take from you is your tone. So work on your tone, and you want to be personable. And he also says build rapport. So I'm always building rapport. It's business and you're professional, but also I like to tell my sellers, we're going to be seeing a lot of each other. We're going to be communicating a lot. We're going to be working together for the next 60 days on average. So we should like each other. And if you don't like me, we're not going to work together. If I don't like you, we're not going to work well together. I don't say if I don't like you, but I say if you don't like me, maybe we shouldn't do business together. But build rapport, and you want to be likable. You're a professional, but also you're realtors. You're a professional people person, so you should be making people feel comfortable. So just remember, be yourself, build rapport, and make it about them. And all right, guys, that's about it. 45 minutes. Shoot me an email if you want those presentations, and I'll shoot them to you over right now. Otherwise, we're going to work on getting on the website. And if y'all need anything, as always, come holler at me. My office is always open. You can text me or email me. And thanks, guys. Have a great day.